Thank you for staying home to be here tonight, and thank you for staying home. I find it pandering and obvious when a speaker addresses a crowd, particularly a sizable one, and says, "Welcome, friends," and some part of my mind replies, oh, we're friends all of the sudden, speaker person. We're buddies, huh? But as I prepared these opening remarks in the strangest of environments, sitting comfortably at home in my recliner while my children watched Boss Baby instead of being on an airplane or in a conference hotel room the night before, that's precisely what I intend to write. Welcome, friends. Friends. That's what we have to be right now. Friends. We have to be charitably minded, armed with benefit of the doubt and team we've likely ever had to be, because we are in a place that most of us in our blessed lifetimes have never had to operate. We are together in a worldwide crisis, unexpected by most, feared by some, and foreseen by too few. The fact that we are still meeting over the next few days for this virtual summit is less a testimony to our resiliency. In fact, we're likely here because we can be, because we are fortunate enough to afford this time and have the technology to do so. And it's more a sign of the unifying and innovating we're prepared to do in the days ahead for healthcare, for medicine, for mental health, and for our fellow human. Friends. Yes, friends. Welcome to the New England Graphic Medicine Virtual Summit. I'm the organizer, A. David Lewis, and I need to do that thing that I usually loathe at other conferences, but it's almost certainly deserved here. Thanking the parties who not only supported the conference when it was a quirky proposal I put forward from my Boston campus, but who also made sure it still happened even in the midst of this pandemic. Let's recognize the NEGM, not only the founders of this conference and its inaugural event last year, but also the generous backers of this big marker web conferencing platform, of the live captioning being made available, and you can see it, the link in your chat window, and of the graphic note-taking that will be taking place all throughout the summit. Their own Sarah Levin-Lederer will be serving as co-host for some of the concurrent panels, and I am grateful for her and all of their work. Sarah, are you there?
Hello.
Hello. Would you like to say any words here at the outset?
Yes. Yes, I would. Let me rearrange my screens really quick. So when Dave asked if I wanted a chance to also say a few things, I said yes, because I want to take this opportunity to thank MCPHS and Dave, especially, for all of the work that he's done, not only to put the conference together originally, but also then to shift everything online in a little under 2 weeks. Usually you don't want to know what goes on behind the scenes when putting on a conference, and as long as it goes well and it looks smooth from the outside, that's what matters. But in this case, we really have to acknowledge that the things that happened behind the scenes of this conference were extraordinary. The time and effort that went into moving everything online is a testament to Dave's commitment to seeing that the 2020 New England Graphic Medicine Conference happened, but also a testament to graphic medicine as a community that inspires us to go that extra length. A community that brings together creators, providers, patients and patient advocates, librarians and academics, public health, and the general public. We're very fortunate in New England. For a region in the US, we're very geographically small, but we have a very strong graphic medicine community. We're sad to be losing the ability to continue to build the relationships that come with meeting in person, but are happy and actually quite proud to be able to share what we have with colleagues from across the United States and around the world as well. So thank you to MCPHS for being our hosts, to Dave for all of his hard work, and to you for joining us. So wherever you're joining us from, welcome to New England.
Thank you so much. Next, I want to acknowledge the MCPHS University Library, home to the brand new graphic medicine collection and partners in obtaining the grant money for it through the Popular Culture Association. Can I ask if their Dean, Rich Kaplan, might like to say some words? We're going to unmute Rich, so he's allowed to say some words. Rich, but go ahead, sir.
All right, thank you and welcome all. I guess I should say good evening and also good morning for some of our participants who are halfway around the world. You know, we were hoping to actually host this opening reception and display our collection, but as David said, life has a habit of getting in the way. And hopefully at some point you can come to MCPHS and visit us, and we'll be happy to show you what we have already collected. When I was asked if I wanted to say a few words, I really jumped at the chance. This is a great opportunity to publicly thank A. David Lewis for leading the initiative that started our graphic medicine collection at MCPHS. Our library is geared almost entirely to providing health information to the MCPHS faculty and future health professionals. Sadly, we have very little until now that really addresses the needs to provide health information for the layperson. Our new graphic medicine collection is a great step forward. So I'm just trying to be brief, and I just want to say thanks again all, and thank you so much, A. David Lewis, and welcome to you all.
Thank you, Rich. I'm going to go off script and just point out this was not planned to be all thanking each other back and forth. It's a group effort all across the board. So I need to say that to keep my humility in check. Thank you, Dean Kaplan. Now we go back to the planned comments. Additionally, I'd like to thank the School of Healthcare Business, my home department, both for their financial support towards the keynote speaker tomorrow, but also their enthusiasm for the subject of graphic medicine in education for patients, industrially and clinically. Would Dean Michael Spooner care to speak with us briefly?
Of course. And it looks like I'm unmuted. Are you able to hear me? All right, thank you. Dr. Lewis, thank you for welcoming me. I'm happy to be here to bring a welcome from the School of Healthcare Business, and I view this as a truly groundbreaking event. And like Rich, I wanted to say just a few words, but it's hard to honor the work and the time and the commitment of not only Dave Lewis, of Sarah and the library, but to also recognize the community, as you've mentioned, and now I will use the word friends as well. I did want to acknowledge the dedication of Dr. Lewis, Dr. Ho, the entire library staff for MCPHS, and certainly, and not last or least, but the library network for the medical colleges in the New England region. So I think it's important to mention the elephant in the room here, which is certainly the current pandemic. And it certainly laid challenges at your feet in education, in daily life, and simply in the procurement of necessities. I wanted to also send well wishes to all of you and thank you for joining us. We know it's truly a unique time in history, and what you do and how you, and I'm saying you as a community, the value of what you do, I think, is sometimes undervalued. And I say this as the quote business guy in the room. And Dave certainly knows this. He knows the question I'm about to ask you, and forgive me for adding one more challenge to an already challenging time. I always ask Dave, it's the same question: what is the business case for graphic medicine? And how can the immense value of graphic medicine be explained to folks who sometimes sit there and count widgets or count numbers or look at accounts? How do we make it clear to those folks? That's the question I always lay at Dave's feet. And I see you smiling, Dave, so you must have known it was coming, right? But I mean, I think you're all aware of the value and the importance of your talent and your passion. And I am immensely, I value this in such a way that I want to see graphic medicine reach the heights that are possible, and the way in which it can be used to help with patient engagement, with improving education, and not only education, but communication among care partners, among patients and providers, and helping to make complex, tough to explain diagnoses, educational materials easier to understand. It's incredibly important. I've seen it in my own life with immunocompromised parents. I've seen it in research around knee replacements and education for patients. It's incredibly important. And I'm sure you all recognize this, and I hope that we can bring graphic medicine to the place that it deserves. And in saying all of this, I just want to applaud all of you for your passion, for your time, your dedication, and frankly, collectively, you're all way ahead of your time. And I applaud you for all that you do and your vision. And I look forward to seeing a lot of the rest of this conference and where graphic medicine will be in even a year. And Dave, I do have to say one more time, your passion, your dedication, and your just ability to explain this and make it come together for me has always been something I rely on. And so thank you for the opportunity to welcome you all. And, as you mentioned, community and friends. I think this is great, incredibly important. So thank you.
Thank you, Dean Spooner. Mike, I appreciate the words greatly. Let me also acknowledge the patronage of MCPHS's Center for Health Humanities, the home base for all of this conference planning, and the MCPHS University itself. We have my longtime colleague, Carol-Ann Farkas here, co-director of the CHH. I'd love to welcome her to the mic to say a few words.
Thank you. Thank you all for coming to this amazing conference. It would be amazing under any circumstances. This is a really exciting dimension of healthcare humanities, the study of graphic medicine. It's one that kind of everyone loves, everyone sees the relevance and the connection with. So I'm grateful to all of you, scholars, researchers, artists, writers who are all involved in this amazing intersection of health and communication and storytelling. So thank you all for attending. On behalf of the Center for the Health Humanities at MCPHS and the School of Arts and Sciences, I'll represent because I'm here. I welcome all of you, and I hope that you have an amazing time. I know you'll have an amazing time. Our Center for Health Humanities has grown tremendously in just the last year. Our provost gave us tremendous institutional and financial support to really make the center a no longer virtual, but actual center for scholarship and teaching in the health humanities. And this is one of our first big events, and we're very excited about that. I'll just put in a plug. We're also developing a program for visiting fellows that you might keep an eye out for. You may have already seen this. We are inviting people to come to campus. This is all in normal circumstances when we're not in a pandemic, but like in normal times, we are going to have a visiting fellows program. We are planning to have a health humanities symposium. We were going to have that this spring, but we had to put that all on hold because of the pandemic. We were daunted when Professor Lewis was not. And so we're going to be having those events in the future, and I hope that we will see some of you participating there. And we are also trying our institutional best to develop a degree program in the health humanities, an undergraduate degree program that I hope will be a really exciting innovation in connecting healthcare and humanities education in Boston and in the Northeast. We're going to be leading the way on that as soon as we get approval for it. So lots of really exciting things are happening at MCPHS University. This is just one of them. And when we all emerge from our seclusion, we're going to get right back at it.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Carol-Ann. Thank you, Professor Farkas. Sorry, I was distracted by a little smooch from a 5-year-old who wandered in. So that threw me off. Okay. One more note I'll make off script. Were this not virtual, it is the Center of Health Humanities that was making it possible for us to have all the space on campus. It was under their auspices that besides the library, all the various rooms and study halls would have been prepared. So I'm especially grateful there. So while I'm delighted to share the next 2 days of programming, largely coming from artists, scholars, and medical professionals across the New England region, it would be doing graphic medicine in general a huge disservice to suggest that it is exclusively a local phenomenon. In addition to some panels featuring nationwide and even international concerns, I want to take this moment to salute the work being done by graphicmedicine.com, the Spanish-speaking Medicina Gráfica, and the whole International Graphic Medicine Association. They have been pioneering this topic well before many of us were on the scene, and they maintain a beautifully open space for more of us to join. To that end, the legendary MC Serwick, I practice pronouncing it, encouraged me to note that the Graphic Medicine International Conference organizers will soon be launching a free weekly virtual meetup called Drawing Together. They will provide a Zoom link, a topic, and a group facilitator. Everyone, new or returning, in the graphic medicine community is welcome to join them to chat, draw, support one another, and share. So please watch graphicmedicine.com and social media for more information on how to participate soon. The only other people I'll thank are you, the attendees, for taking this time tonight and over the next 2 days. You are so awesome. But let's not belabor the point, shall we? I suspect some of you might either be in your pajamas right now or never switched out of them today. That's okay. We're an accepting bunch. Over tomorrow and Saturday, you will see presentations, experience workshops, and hear from experts on an array of graphic medicine concerns and accomplishments. Friday will open with a workshop from local artists Beth Barnett and Liz Baldock-Sucks on the creative process and the issue of mental health. And while we are disappointed that Lucy Nicely can't join us, we wish her and her family well. It is wonderful to welcome Brian Fies, author of Mom's Cancer and A Fire Story, recently nominated for an Eagle Award, to our virtual stage as the keynote speaker. this is a man who knows about crisis, how it can translate to comics, and what such stories can do for people. It's not to be missed. We'll conclude Friday with a discussion of the pandemic itself, starting with Alice Jaggers addressing the comics works that are already being marshaled in response to death tolls, lockdowns, and political strife. And then shifting to Darren Teichman and the efforts to date that have been made possible because of the annals of graphic medicine. We have allowed ample time for discussion between all the attendees as well as we all navigate this crisis and what our respective skills make possible. Saturday begins with 2 concurrent sessions, a book tour come workshop from Laura Lee Gullidge about debuting her latest book, The Dark Matter of Mona Starr, and a self-aware panel from Matthew No, Kathy Leamy, Maria Fodanakis, and Laura K. Ronan on the challenges and even the shortcomings facing graphic medicine. Similarly, the next time block will offer 2 options, exciting new directions from Christopher McGonigal, Ian Sampson, and Pianqing Feng, joining us via recorded video, and its current valuable intersections from Phoebe Cohen, Izzy Manley, Natalie Wardlaw, Sage Pership from the Center for Cartoon Studies. Fortunately, since all of these panels and workshops will be recorded, you won't miss anything. They'll be available after the conclusion of the virtual summit for viewing. Finally, artist J.D. Luntz runs the anchor leg of the program with his workshop, taking a deep dive into his own work on the AIDS crisis, followed by my own brief return to conclude the proceedings. The next 48 hours are packed with thought and opportunity. But let's also fill these sessions, please, with kindness. As I said, I wrote this as I watched my kids, ages 9 and 5, sit comfortably on our old couch and stream animated movies from Netflix. They just found out less than an hour earlier that they would not be returning to school for at least a month, if at all, this spring. I put the finishing touches on it while they rode their scooters for a brief jaunt outside in a large parking lot that would usually be packed. If this world has become odd and daunting to us, it has become absolutely bizarre to them. And my children, I admit, are among the fortunate ones with a home, a family network, a certainty of food and good health. There are adults and children who are not, who will not fare so well. And so, in that spirit, let's acknowledge that all of us are feeling some degree of struggle, from financial to familial to political to psychological and emotional. We are not working in ideal circumstances with polished research or simply reliable internet. Therefore, in that we have the privilege to be here and take part in this conference, let's also show kindness to each other in this atypical setting, unfamiliar format, and chancy household technology. In conclusion, honestly, there's a word throughout these opening remarks mentioned by the other presenters that keeps ringing in my ear. We're holding this event, we're sharing this work, we're pushing ahead with our lives, even in the midst of this pandemic. Could you have imagined? Maybe some of you, maybe the best informed or the most worldly, but for a lifelong suburbanite, it is no longer a distant historical fact, a faraway dilemma, or a fictional future. We are here in a pandemic together. And how we function, even the fact that we function at all, will be telling as the story of this time is written. In some sense, I hope my children's world returns to normal soon so they can see their friends, enjoy their parks, visit the library, attend school, and grab a bite before catching a movie. But on the other hand, I hope things don't return strictly to normal. I hope we learn something from this time. I hope new protocols and greater preparedness is put in place. I hope the fragility of our medical system and of capitalism is seriously scrutinized. And I hope that the vulnerable are not left in such peril so casually and so often. It may be foolish, but to quote Red Redding, I hope. Supposedly, good conclusions also include a call to action. So here it is. Use this time to heal and then go and heal. Graphic medicine will likely never have the biological efficacy of a steroid, a scalpel, or a stitch, but it can do what those materials cannot, namely function as an informational, instructional, expressive, restorative, organizational, or narrative resource that covers the aspects of healthcare and wellness that pharmaceuticals and procedures cannot. It has a purpose. It has a value. Graphic medicine is needed. Therefore, use this time, even during the presentations and workshops, to connect, to stimulate, and to reawaken. And then let's get down to putting all this art and energy to work. We can do it, friends. I'll be back to speak briefly on Saturday at the conclusion of the summit. I want to thank you all again, and that is the end of the opening remarks. If you would like to stay on to chat, you are welcome to. Presenters for the remainder of the conference, we're meeting in about a half hour to do our tech rehearsal. So efficacy, challenge accepted. So if you log off now, there will be no hard feelings. But if you would like to stay and talk further, this space is welcome. We should probably end the recording now though, right? Recording end.